Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chad. I'm your tAilor. About a month ago now, my friend Cyril and I had our first pop-up and we had a whole bunch of stuff on sale. We had bandanas, bags, buttons, a whole bunch of stuff. Thank you to everybody who came through. Big shout out to Mina for organizing the entire thing. But one of the things that we were most proud of was making our bags, right? We came up with a cool denim patchwork Tsuno bag design, and I just kind of want to show you guys exactly what we made and how we made it. So, you know, in case you guys weren't there, you didn't come through, you like it, and for some reason you can't get it. Website coming soon, by the way. I know I always say that, but you know, this time it's actually it's actually coming soon. Just our general thought process when making it. I do have another Tsuno bag video on this channel. I'll link it up. But that's like making a bag from a pair of pants. This one's gonna be making one completely from scratch. I'll also have the pattern linked down below. All right, that's enough yapping. Let's get to sewing. All right, let's get started. First things first, we have our bottom pattern here, rectangle with tapered ends. And I'll show you step by step. We're gonna have a whole bunch of jeans. I suggest go to the thrift store, get some jeans. If you have any scrap denim fabric or any scrap fabric at all, this will be great to use that for this bag. Starting off, let's say I have a jeans panel here. I'm going to just place it on top of the pattern, and then I can use my scissors to roughly cut off the ends and the excess fabric. You'll also need pins. I'm using straight pins here just to pin everything together. Try and cover the entirety of the pattern piece with patches. Try and do a design or something like that that will, I guess, look nice for you. One of the good things about making these bags is that each individual one is going to look completely different. So we're going to cover this entire pattern piece with patches. All right, so the patches are done. As you can see, I did take the liberty of making it as, I guess, detailed and unique as possible. You can see I have quite a lot of pins, quite a lot of patches, quite a lot of differences in the color and the type of denim. Now that this is done, I'm going to remove it from the pattern. First thing you'll notice is when I remove from the pattern is that you'll notice that it's not the shape of the pattern. It's the general shape, but it's not the perfect shape of the pattern, which 100% is fine. We're going to be addressing that later. But right now, everything is pinned up. We're going to be taking this entire piece and bringing it right to the sewing machine. So let's go to the sewing machine and we'll be right back. Alrighty, we're at the sewing machine and we're going to be changing our thread selector to the zigzag and also reducing the thread length to, right now I'm putting it at a 2.5. And we're going to be zigzag stitching. So where these two pieces of denim connect, you can see the dark blue and the light blue. I'm going to be stitching zigzag right between that connection. You can see the zigzag. I use sort of like a beige thread. Obviously you can use whatever color you want, and the zigzag is more or less right in the middle of the two fabrics, and we're going to be doing that over every single one of the connections. This might take some time. Have patience, go slowly. All right, we are back from the sewing machine, and this is what the piece looks like that we've just sewn. Now that this is back from the sewing machine, everything's stitched, we're going to take our paper pattern again, and this time line it up once more, edge to edge, on the piece of fabric that we've just sewn. So just line up the pattern on the fabric and cut off all the extra bits. So. Voila! Ooh, we have a bottom patch of our tote bag. It is nice and clean and finished. Some of the edges are a little wobbly and wonky, but I can just fix that with the iron. One thing I did forget to mention is that although the top side, so the right side of the fabric, is secured together with all these zigzag stitching, the bottom of the fabric, on the edges, stitched with a top stitch, an edge stitch right on the edge of the fabric, just to secure everything. On the right side, you do see these like straight lines, which is fine. No, it definitely adds to the aesthetic, but I just stitched down the back side of the fabric so that nothing like flops and goes around and gets flimsy and stuff like that. We have one last thing to do for the bottom. That is to fold the entire strip in half, and then we're just gonna cut 2 notches, so it's 2 tiny snips that are about 1/8 of an inch. And this is just gonna help us in future line up this piece to the other pieces. So this piece is done. We're gonna be doing the exact same process that I did for the other 2 pieces. And then we're gonna be combining everything together. Alright, so we're done when it comes to cutting out and stitching together the 2 front panels of the bag. Let's just take these fabric weights, lift up the pattern so you can kind of see I have 2 of the front pieces on top of each other. So just a little bit quicker when it comes to cutting them. I'm laying them on top of each other and I'm laying the pattern right on top, exactly like I did for the middle section. I'm taking my trusty scissors and I'm cutting all the excess off. Alrighty, so the pieces are in place. We have one front panel. I also added some parallel lines just to give it a little bit more texture and a little bit more character to the bag. One front piece. We have our second front piece right here out of the denim, and we have our back. So it's time to attach all these together. All right, let's start with one front panel. I'm just gonna set this aside and start with this one. Taking the bottom part, and remember I did notch the edges, it's going to come in handy now because I also notched the front part here. You can see a tiny little notch. And we're going to line up this notch with the bottom notch, and we're going to pin all the way around this side and around that side. All right, so all the pins are done on the bag, you can see here, and we're going to be stitching at a 1/2 inch of seam allowance all the way around. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and I'll be right back. Have a 1/2 inch stitch right at the edge of the fabric. Perfect. Now we just have to repeat this exact same process for the other side, and then we're almost done with the bag. Alrighty, so the bag is nice and finished. This is the shell of the bag complete. You can see that's one side. This is the middle section. Nice. Ooh, middle section. And here's the underside. So the bag is complete. The next thing we have to do is make the lining. Now the lining is essentially made the exact same way as the shell, but instead of the patchwork, we're just going to be doing made out of non-patch regular fabric. All right, so we have the shell of our bag and we have the lining of our bag. We're in the home stretch. We just need to put these 2 pieces together. The first thing we're going to be doing is putting the shell inside the lining. You want to make sure that the right sides are facing each other. Slip these 2 in together, and then we did add notches to our bag, so it'll be a little bit easier to line up. So you can just line up these 2 notches here on this one side and sort of try and match that all over the bag. And to help you out, you can even add some pins just to sort of secure everything together. All right, there we go. Now the one thing we're going to do after we do this is we're going to stitch all around the circumference of the bag. So you can start in the center, go all the way around, go around this strap on the edge, all the way back down to the other side, and keep going right until you get almost to where you started, and then just leave about a 6-inch gap
between them, so it'll be a little bit easier to facilitate our next step. So just stitch from one side all the way around, and right before you get to beginning where you started the stitch, leave like about a 6 or so inch gap. All right, I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine. I'll be right back. There we go. So I stitched at a 1/2 inch of seam allowance all the way around the edges, and I did leave about a 6 inch. You can see that's where I stopped one stitch. That's where we started the stitch. So I left about 6 inches. This is a little more than 6 inches, but you know, 6 inches plus minus, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to be exact in the situation, but we're going to be using this little hole that we made here to flip the bag inside out. Let me take this off so I don't rip anything. So just put your hand in this little hole that we made, and we're pretty much going to flip the entirety of the bag inside out. This is a general technique that you use for stitching lining on most things. Like if you're going to make like a like jackets, or you know, like a plush, and you want to make these seams look very like clean, usually just stitch them with the right sides facing together, and then you just flip it inside out. Okay, the body of the bag's easier, but these little straps are kind of difficult. I think I'm going to have to get a tool to help me. Oh wait, oh maybe I don't need a tool. I can just kind of grab it. Now when you're flipping it inside out, make sure not to pull super hard. You don't want to rip or damage the bag. Just gonna keep, I guess I didn't need a tool, hold on. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we got one strap out, and let's get the other strap. Oh, it looks like this one still has a pin in there. Is there still a pin? Oh yeah, there's still a pin. Let's get that pin out of the way. No more pins. Okay. There we go. So this is what the bag looks like here, and you can see the interior. It's nice and clean. The stitching, there you go. The stitching is nice and clean. Now we just have one more step to do to finish up this bag. We're going to be doing a top stitch, an edge stitch all the way around the edge of the bag, just to make sure we secure the lining and the shell of the bag together. And we also have to go over the hole that we made. So this hole here, it's pretty unsightly, also leads to the interior of the bag, and we're just going to be sort of folding it in at 1/2 inch, the seam allowance, and you can also pin it just to make sure that it doesn't shift or move or anything like that. And we're going to be doing a top stitch, an edge stitch all the way around, pretty much repeating our previous stitch, but this time going over the edge of the bag. So I'm going to take this back to the sewing machine, and I will be right back. All right, so the stitching is nice and done all around, so it's not going to flip. The lining's not going to flip back out. I also took the liberty of adding this little sort of fastener thing. I'm just going to sew on the button here, and it's going to act as a little closure mechanism for the bag, so that it can stay nice and closed, and all your stuff on the inside won't falling out and stuff. It's also an interior pocket, and then we just screen printed it, so you know, it can have a little bit of a logo on there as well too. That's it. And we're done. Here's what the bag looks like. Just because of the nature of this bag, it is gonna be totally different every time, which is kind of like what I like. I like that it looks a little bit different, unique. Everyone who gets one's gonna have like their own sort of unique variation of our design. It's pretty decently sized. You can fit like a laptop in here. We have a interior pocket, so you can put like a, you know, smaller things that are, you know, more likely to get lost and stuff. Denim, so it's totally washable. If you guys end up making this, tag me on Instagram, you know, at tAilor. Let me know. I kind of want to see if you guys end up making it. Yeah, you can make this out of jeans or out of any other types of fabric. This one is made out of like blue jeans. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. I will see you guys in the next video, which will be, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'll see you guys next time.